Good morning, real life traders. Kyle Bennett, Ryan Thompson. Give me a 1, please, in the chat if you can hear me okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Let me do a different screen share here. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's having a great morning so far. Just do a little cleanup here of my screens. Get the video off here. So welcome everybody on, let's see. There we go. All right. Good morning. Welcome everybody here, real life trading members, everyone out there on YouTube watching live. Good morning. So far, so good for me. All right. See, we've got a bunch of people in the house. Chris McCoy. Awesome that Chris is available to talk with me next week. We're going to be doing another session of talking real life traders. I posted something about that in Slack this morning. So last week we had on D Simpson and Sky Medley, trading cousins, and next week we're going to be doing Chris McCoy, and I'm looking for one other person. So Agnes, I know you and I talked about it last week, but if you can work that out, it's not today, it's next week. So I am looking for one more person. So I've got Chris locked down. I need one more real life trader to jump on the mic with me. Again, it's about a 45-minute session. So, all right, let's take a look at the broader markets. We are looking at right now a gap down in the market, and not entirely shocking. If you recall, when I was with you this time last week, I was talking about how, and let me blow up, let me expand the S&P here. All right. We were talking about how we finally have broken this trend line, and this trend line that's been so strong for so long. We finally broke through it, and we are now looking at potentially coming down and retesting it, right? So trend line is no different than any other support resistance line. It is now an area, previous resistance now becomes support. We'll look for this to come down and retest it. Will it come all the way down there? Who knows? We'll have to keep an eye on it. But I did say last week that over the next couple of weeks, we could see a retracement down into there, okay? At the very least, if we just look at this move right here and we throw on a fib, okay, from this level here to this level, right? You know, right now we're coming into, we've already come into the 38.2. The typical retracement using the fibs is anywhere between 38.2 and 61.8. So we're already in that retracement area. We'll have to see and we've got a couple of these moving averages here that could provide support as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. I do expect it to come down a little bit more. And again, we're getting a gap down today. So just keep an eye on this over the next couple of weeks. Today, currently looking more bearish than bullish. Yeah, so Chuck, the ES, right? So the SPY is just the ETF of the S&P/ES, right? And then Qs reflect the NASDAQ. So as I was talking about last week, I think I went over, like last week was interesting because the futures, right? So the S&P and the NASDAQ were giving us a completely different look on the open than what the SPY and the Qs were giving us. So SPY and Qs were looking like a gap and go, a gap down, gap and go, but it wasn't looking that way on the futures. So again, I pre-market and well, throughout the day. I mean, I do always have the futures on. That's my go-to. I have SPY and Qs on as well. I follow all of it. I think Albert, you and I were chatting about that. I do track all of this, right? So it's all in one. So when let me minimize this, right? So you can see here, here's my S&P, here's the Qs, here's, again, this is the S&P on the 5, Qs on the 5. Here's my daily on the SPY and the Qs. And what I will do is I will wait until when the market opens. I will then switch this this daily chart over to a 5-minute. I just leave it on the daily. I'm going to see where it is opening. But again, the SPY and the Qs are going to track, the S&P and the NASDAQ. So, but again, last week, if you were just solely looking at SPY and Qs, it would have given you a completely different perspective on that gap down than if you were also tracking the future. So let me get rid of this. If I can find my cursor, let me get rid of this retracement. Same thing. We got the same exact look here on the NASDAQ, right? Coming into, I do expect retracement. Here's the 200 on the daily. We could get down in there, throw on the fibs on here. Just see where we are here on. So again, we are into, well, we closed, looks like we're kind of holding that 38.2 level, but we are, I would expect it to come down. Again, that zone, right? So it's not a particular level, it is a zone. That retracement zone is anywhere between the 38.2 and the 61.8. So anywhere in here would be a reasonable place to look for this down move to bounce. And after making this whole move here, right, we do need to take a breath, right? Strong move here. We do need to take a breath, pull back, and then look to S curve and go up. But we do have a lot of stocks gapping down today, right? And the majority, as a matter of fact, I've specifically went through my scanner looking for gap and goes because, this is a day where you're going to see a ton of stuff gapping down because yesterday was a down day, right? And so we have a retest gap today, retest gap on the market, on the broader markets, retest gap on pretty much every single ticker that I looked at. So just be aware of that and know that if you get into a trade, and again, right now we are, Chuck, it looks like we're in for a bearish open. Absolutely. Yeah. So it looks like today, based on what the markets are showing right now, we are looking, if you want to trade with markets, which I do recommend doing, we are looking for, I'll be looking for bearish trades. And again, Chuck, keep in mind, retest gap, right? So what does that mean? It's like, you have to be patient, right? If you get into a bearish trade, just know that it's going to come back up before it goes back down, right? So retest gaps are all about patience, gap and goes. You look for a big, strong move. Give me a second. I want to change our screen here, give you a different screen share, but I need to move something out of the way. Hector, good morning. All right, let's start looking at our individual tickers. NVIDIA. All right, changing the screen share. Brock, good morning. All right, so you should be looking at NVIDIA right now. So NVIDIA, right? So, I mean, again, look at this move, right? This is on the daily chart. Look how strong that move is, right? All the way up. So would be expecting some type of pullback, right? So not shocking that it's going to pull back. Now, we do have some moving average. I'm just going to look at the daily chart first, then we'll get into the intraday and what to expect today. But you shorted it yesterday. Good deal. Nice day to short it, right? And I think today is going to give you an opportunity to short. So you got a couple moving averages here just to be aware of. You've got, I don't think could we get down into here? Of course, right? Because these orange lines right here, which you also see here, are representing the current high and low of the pre-market. Let me adjust this one. All right. So can we get down in here? Of course. So if you do get into a short trade, you want to be aware of your moving averages here. And Agnes, by the way, I did see your note that you're going to be on an international flight next week. So, okay, that's fine. We'll get you on at some point. No worries. So again, NVIDIA, we are still in this overbought area here on the RSI. And you can see we've kind of come into it, pulled back, got back into overbought, pulled back. So we, again, it's not, this is not going to be unexpected, right? We do need to pull back. It's healthy for the market after it's made such a move like that in January to take a breath and pull back a little bit and then gear up to hopefully go bullish again, right? Good news is, though, that we here at Real Life Trading, we can make money going bullish or bearish. Doesn't matter what the market is doing, we can still make money in either direction. So again, some moving averages down here. I don't expect them to come into play today. As I'm looking at this on the intraday chart, yes, we do have, here is the 10 EMA on the daily chart. So that potentially could come into play, but we'll just keep an eye on it. Right now, we are, again, gapping down. This is it's a bearish retest gap. So again, expect some type of a retest back up into potentially yesterday's level. You could also go back a couple of days and look at this low here, retest into that. Could just simply, in that level that I was just looking at from a couple of days ago. Let me zoom back out. Right? If you look at this level right here, it's not that far above the current pre-market high. And it's also right about the same level as this pivot point right here that was formed in the pre-market. So it could come back up there, retest there, and then roll. But again, we're going to be watching the broader markets, tracking the broader markets to see what they're doing. Tesla. Take a look at Tesla. Right? Beautiful doji yesterday, right? Right at the top of the move, beautiful doji. So typical technical analysis pattern here where you get a gap up, right? So we get strong move here. We get a gap up. Look at this bearish volume, right? So at one point, this would have been a nice bullish candle, and then it just sold off. So, does that mean that the bears are here, and it's going to, drive Tesla back down? No, not necessarily. It could just be, there's a lot of people profitable in the last month, right? So big moves, and then people are like, okay, time to take some profits. We do have up here this heavy red line here is the monthly 10 EMA. So that could be a level that people were just watching, going, okay, well, big move here, and it was a gap up, right? Gap up from prior day, right? It's a gift from the trading gods. Take your profit. So wouldn't be surprised that this was just profit taking. Look for it to pull back down. Want to be aware of right now, we are trading still. So here's the low from yesterday. We are still trading underneath yesterday's price action. We came down here, pre-market made this low. We've come back right back up, retested, right? It's a retest gap, retested right into yesterday's low already. And then we're coming back down. So just be aware if you get into Tesla. Lucian, yeah, CVX. I'll take a look. Let me just make a note. So could, you want to be aware of this level, right? This gap, look for potential gap fill, right? And right now, okay, that gap has already filled pre-market, right? So here's that level. So you just want to be aware it has already filled that level. So doesn't mean we can't get back down there. Of course it can. And if the market is weak, and if the market dumps, then Tesla's going to, likely, if it's already made this move down, Tesla could easily break this pre-market low. But again, don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. We're going to keep an eye on the markets. Amazon. Zoom in here a little bit. But I adjusted this pre-market. I got to adjust a couple lines. I've got these all set. Sorry, hang on. I did this a while ago. I thought I already adjusted these. Low 97.57. So I'm going to adjust this line right here. 97.57. Again, these green lines represent the high and low from yesterday. High of this candle, 101.78. Right. We do have couple of moving averages, but they're not really in play right now. Well, let's see, here's the 20, here's the 10 right here. So black line is a 20, red line here is the 10. We do have, if we do end up going bearish, just bear in mind, we have this moving average here. That is the 50, and that would be the daily 50. If edit this, it's a 2. So we don't have any, and then we have, looks like this thicker light blue line down there is the 100 on the monthly. So probably we'll just, if we get down here, right? It's a pretty big move if we do get down here. But anyway, you do have this level here that you want to be aware of, right? If we do get into a short on Amazon. But again, as of right now, Amazon is right back up into the low of yesterday, right? So this green line is the low from yesterday. Here's our pre-market high and low. Now, pretty tight range here, right? Amazon compared to what we just looked at on Tesla. Tesla had a wider range for the pre-market. Amazon a little bit tighter range, right? So building up some pressure. So we will watch that. Just, we want to be aware of the low from yesterday. If we break that again, we are looking at retest gap. I'm just watching the market here. We got a little bit of a bounce that came in at 8 o'clock. So we'll just keep an eye on that. We are on the markets. We're basically, just shift over here real quick. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Really quickly, I'll come over here on the 5-minute chart, right? Here on the S&P, right? We double topped here on the 5-minute chart. On NASDAQ, we are now making higher highs and higher lows, right? So you just want to watch those things, be aware of it. So after we made on the S&P, after we made this low, we are now back up and we're basically double topping right now. So, and here's the VWAP on the NASDAQ here. We made this low here, and now we are making higher lows and higher highs. So again, be watching the price action and the movement just to see which direction the market is going to pick. And obviously I want to determine the direction of the market, be comfortable with that before I jump into any trades. Let's see, AMD. AMD, all right? So currently trading underneath yesterday's low, right? So here's the low from yesterday, trading underneath it. So we do have a gap down. We have a couple of moving averages that are in play. We have this heavy red line right here, right? If I right click this, it should be a 4. Yep. So that's the monthly 10 EMA here. So that is right around the 80-50 level. Then we have right here, we have the 10 EMA on the daily, which is right here. So right now we are kind of sandwiched in between those moving averages. And I'm not sure if that's an actual true wick or not. Probably not, probably just filling an order that was sitting out there. But anyway, I'm going to maintain, let's see, the pre-market level, right? Technically that would be, again, I don't know if that wick is real or not. Pre-market, I've got way up there. I'm going to move it down just because I'm looking, the pre-market basically is holding that 10 EMA on the daily right here, right? So this single print right here, I'm not going to use that for my pre-market high. I'm going to, if I'm looking here, all of this price action that has occurred, right, when volume started picking up, it's all holding underneath the 10 EMA on the daily. So that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on. Let's see, Apple. And Lucian, I will get to CVX in a second. All right, Apple. Apple is interesting. So I'll throw it out there to the group, throw it in the chat. What do you think that I am looking at there on the daily chart that I find very intriguing? Go ahead and post it in in the chat. I'm curious if who sees what I see. Kyle, absolutely. Yep. Well, Christopher, take it a little farther than that. Yep, I mean, all these answers are correct, but really, yeah, Brian, that's what I'm looking at mainly, right? So all the answers are correct. But what I'm looking here is so Christopher, yes, you were not incorrect about 2 days. Really what I'm looking at is this candle, right? All of this pressure that's building, compression is, as Kyle mentioned, pressure, whatever term you want to use, but all of these candles are inside this one, right? So the longer that goes sideways and remains an inside candle, the stronger that move is going to be when it gets broken. So right now, we are still trading inside of this candle here, right? So let's zoom in here a little bit on the intraday chart. Again, here's another wick like that, what we just looked at. I'm going to bring this down. So we do have a gap down, right? We are looking at a gap down. Here's yesterday's close. Retest gap. We do have a bunch of moving averages in play here with Apple, right? And that's could be what's holding it up. So you have here, looking at the daily, it already broke pre-market. It broke, this is the weekly 50. So it broke the weekly 50 here, but then we have the weekly 100. This light blue line is right here, and that's over here on the daily chart. That's that jagged line. We have that. You have the weekly 100 and the daily 10, right, are crossing, right? So you got that support right there. That's this red line, kind of crimson line, the blue line here. They are right there together. And so they're providing some type of support right now. So that level got broken pre-market. It is now come back in. Again, now it's making higher highs and higher lows. But here's the pre-market low, pre-market high. Down here, right, this heavy line down here, that is the monthly 10 EMA. And then you've got the daily 200 down here. So just be aware. I mean, if it can break and hold below this 100, there definitely is some room to go, right? But watch that level, that 149.20 level is currently the level that needs to get broken. Again, you have two moving averages there propping it up. That's Apple. Let's take a look at CVX or Lucian. All right, so CVX. Looking at let's just check this out. So first of all, let's look at the news. Okay, so the news is that across the board, energy firms, you should be seeing some type of a bump with the energy, right? So Russia will cut oil production by 500 barrels per day. That, for whatever reason, that's the news. That is the catalyst behind this, right? So if we look at CVX, yesterday's high. So we are looking at a potential gap and go, right? Now, the only thing I will say is what I'm looking at here pre-market, okay? Throw it in the chat. What do you think I'm looking at pre-market? What do you think is crossing my mind, what I am looking at and I'm analyzing pre-market that would make me question if this will gap at all, or B, the strength of the gap? Yeah, Hector, boom, nailed it, right? Look at this. I mean, this is not, when you look at all these other charts that we've looked at this morning, they all look like a typical intraday chart, right? They're moving smoothly. The price action is good. And then you look at this and you go, okay, well, this print right here, 200 shares, right? That candle, 200. This candle, okay? Volume's going up a little bit. 1,500 on this one. 1,300 on this one. So not great volume. And if you recall what, written right into my trading plan is what I'm looking for is pre-market. I want to see a minimum of 10,000 shares traded. I want to see some type of volume. And so right now it's a low volume move, and it may not even end up, gapping. But keep an eye on it, Lucian. That doesn't mean I'm not trying to talk you out of trading it. I'm just saying, things to be aware of. It could not gap, or if it does, there may not be a whole lot of strength behind it, but keep an eye on it. I mean, it could be it is a potential gap and go. If you do get into it, just be aware you've got this 100 here on the daily at 172 and change. And then you also have the daily 10 coming down here, again, right about that same level. They are crossing right now. So you do have some overhead resistance in the form of the moving averages. Let's see. Let's take a look at, again, I was looking for some gap and goes this morning. Specifically, I wanted to see if there was anything doing the opposite of the market, right? So I didn't really see anything. Let me move my, give me a second. Drag this over. Okay, here's my pre-market gaps, right? So if anyone wants to take a look at this, I already ran through all these bearish gaps here, and I couldn't find anything that was a gap and go. And again, I'm looking at the tickers that I know, the ones that I actively trade. So I looked at X, I looked at Datadog, I looked at NVIDIA, of course, Shop, Crowd, Rivian. I didn't see anything that was jumping out at me. And in fact, all of these have gained some ground in the pre-market. So if you look here now, all of these gaps are showing they're just around 2%. Back at an hour ago when I started doing my pre-market levels, it was, they were down 5-7%. So everything is gaining a little ground. So another reason just to be cautious in terms of impatient, not necessarily cautious, but patient in your trading, and know that, that pre-market, yeah, things initially were lower, but they've been gaining ground. Over here on the bullish side, again, I went through this and I was looking for gap and goes. The only one, and let me bring this back over. I'm wondering if there's anything else that is showing. Let's see. Okay, Yelp. Okay, Yelp was not on that list earlier this morning, so keep an eye on Yelp. I don't know if that is traded in the funded account. My guess is it's probably not, but if anyone, I don't have my funded account. I don't have MetaTrader open right this second. I'm going to open it as soon as the market opens. Again, because I've got 5 minutes, right? So the funded account doesn't start trading immediately. So Yelp could be a potential gap and go. Let's see, where's price action right now? 33, yeah, so 33.19, right? Right now, if this holds, it's clearing this pivot. So that is worth keeping an eye on. Yelp, if you want to look for a, now, the only thing is just word of caution, right? So Yelp is already up 9.5%, right? So doesn't exactly meet my trading plan. Yeah, I'll look at it, but anything that's already gapped, 10% or so. All right, thanks, Agnes. No Yelp in the and Lucian Dawson saying don't see it in ACAP. Okay, so it can't be traded in the funded account anyway, but that doesn't mean you couldn't trade it in your personal account. But it's already up again, almost 10%. Right? Doesn't meet my trading plan. I'm looking for things that are gapping anywhere from 2 to 7%. It's just so there's some room to run. Let's see, CRM. That was the other one I saw this morning. I don't even see it on the list now. Oh, that was on the bearish side. Sorry about it. Yeah. So CRM. I don't know why I was when I was remembering it. It was on the bullish side. So CRM could be a potential bearish gap and go, right? So yesterday, bullish candle, we are, looks like we're gapping down. But again, look at this, very spotty. Volume is not great, but it is pretty far below yesterday's price action, which leads me to believe this will open below, right? Versus CVX, where it was like price action was right there near the high from yesterday. This is pretty far below. All right, there's the bell. So, okay, that's where it opened. But if you are looking at CRM, I'll just finish this thought and then I will move on. But if you are looking at CRM, this is the weekly 50 right here, right? And it already opened, it already traded to it. So for me, when I look at things that I'm potentially going to trade, if it's already gapped to a target or opened at a target, then I'm even, I'll be even more patient with it because it's already traded to a target. All right, let me sign off here on YouTube. The market is open, and looks like the market is pushing higher right now. Right, it's getting bought up. So anyway, all of you out there on YouTube, thank you for joining us this morning. Head on over to reallifetrading.com. We have a great community here of traders. We do this every single day. We do it from 9 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, right? Content all day long. So, all right, come over, be a part of the community. Would love to have you. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will